What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the top 10 non-legendary Pokemon worth powering up. In the past, I actually made a video on this with the intention of taking a look at future Pokemon, looking at their stats, looking at their move pool, and figuring out, are there any non-legendary Pokemon that you can invest your Stardust in and not really worry about the future? But I'll be honest, I could not have predicted that Niantic would end up doing some type of battle rework system, and with that we have a completely new list. Some of them did stay the same if you watched it, so don't worry too much, but other than that we have a completely new list with this CP rework as well as adding in Generation 4 Pokemon, so even some that are not available right now, I do want to go ahead and include them on this list. By the way, we are so close to hitting 50,000 subscribers, so if this video is helpful to you, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. This list is not organized by the least future-proof up to the best future-proof Pokemon. It's simply in order of CP. And one of the criticisms that I got in the past was that I only included attackers. So in this episode, we will be including a gym defender, and that's actually in at our number 10 spot, Blissey. With a max CP of 2,757, Blissey is a pure normal type Pokemon. If you take a look at the stats, go ahead and check out that stamina. So not only that, but the reason why Blissey is also so good as a gym defender is of course because of the moveset. With this moveset, it is a great counter to fighting type Pokemon. So as far as a future contender or a contender from Generation 4 that could counter it as one of a very good gym defenders, I would honestly put up Togekiss on the pedestal. But the good news for Blissey and Togekiss is that they are very complementary to each other. But either way, I thought I would go ahead and mention it. Number 9, Gengar. With a max CP of 2,878, Gengar is a dual type of ghost and poison typing. As far as the stats are concerned, I think the main highlight is probably the good attack stat. Other than that, if you go ahead and take a look at the moveset, we have so much going on with this. Yes, I put on the screen Lick, but you could also have in Shadow Claw as that quick move. And basically for Gengar, the Gen 4 spawns just didn't really compete against Gengar, and the only true competition is most likely Mewtwo with Shadow Ball as that charge move. But even then, that's only for Mewtwo's that were obtained through the EX raid system, or if you randomly got lucky with the glitch timing to get yourself a Shadow Ball, meaning that the pool is very limited as far as the competition for Gengar is concerned, so I definitely would say that it is a Pokemon worth powering up. Number 8, Roserade. With a max CP of 2,971, Roserade is a dual type of grass and poison. So as far as one of the highlights in regards to the stats goes, it is definitely a great attacker. And not only that, go ahead and check out this moveset because we have mainly looked at it from the grass typing, but not only that, Roserade actually has a decent set of moves from the poison typing as well. So this is a Pokemon that actually gets propelled to the number 1 position from 2 different typings, making it one of the most unique on this list. There's a couple that get into the number 2 spot, but they're mostly competing against Legendary, making it very hard to do what Roserade has done. If you are curious about some future competition, the number 1 piece of competition, at least from my perspective, is probably Sceptile Community Day. But at the end of the day, we don't know if it will get Frenzy Plant or if they will go with a Dragon type move to prepare it for a Mega Evolution. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Number 7, Weavile. With a max CP of 3,005, Weavile is a dual type Pokemon of Dark and Ice. So as far as the stats are concerned, once again we have a Pokemon that just has a very good attack stat. And beyond that, if you do check out the moveset, basically Weavile is in at the number 1 spot from a dark typing perspective. And the reason why I haven't talked this much about the ice is because there is some competition from a fellow Gen 4 Pokemon of the ice type, which will make it in on this list later. So for me personally, I'm actually opting to use Weavile as just a dark type Pokemon, but as far as the threats are concerned from the dark typing, it's probably just Tyranitar and Honchkrow. Maybe even a little bit lower down would be Houndoom, just because it has a very good moveset as well. I just realized in post edit that I completely forgot to mention Darkrai. Go ahead and add that as a dark type threat. And then from the ice typing, we have to take a look at Mamoswine and Glaceon, but other than that, Weavile has absolutely caught this game by storm. The CP rework or the stat rework has definitely played in favor for Weavile, and something that I honestly could not predict before the rework. Number 6, Machamp. With a max AP of 3056, Machamp is a pure fighting type Pokemon. With this new stat rework, Machamp is now able to cross over that 3000 CP mark, and I know a lot of people are very excited about that. The main highlight of Machamp on the stats is actually a little bit different than some of the other Pokemon. I would actually categorize Machamp as a fairly well-balanced Pokemon. For example, you have some threat against Machamp in a Pokemon like Breloom. Breloom actually has a higher attack stat from the fighting type standpoint than what Machamp does. At the same time though, because Machamp has such a well-rounded base, it does well for the most part. Yes, Breloom does kind of break into it a little bit, but to be honest, that just means that Breloom is one of the honorable mentions on this list. So I would highly recommend you to invest your Stardust into Machamp. Number 5, Electivire. Electivire, with a max AP of 3079. Electivire is a pure electric type Pokemon. So as far as the stats are concerned, I would argue that the attack stat is probably the most prevalent stat that it has. If you go ahead and take a look at the moveset, what makes this so interesting is that Electivire has access to the move Wild Charge. And with the move Wild Charge, you have a non-legendary Pokemon threatening the top spot versus a Raikou. Yeah, that's absolutely insane, but we have seen that happen in a couple of cases where a non-legendary can outperform a legendary Pokemon, and this is one of those Pokemon which makes it such a highly investable Pokemon. So beyond that, what are the potential threats? Well, we haven't really seen what Magnezone can do. I don't think it's that big of a threat. And then we also have the idea that what would happen if Raikou got a different moveset, maybe a different quick move. At that point, would it take back that number 1 spot? We are definitely going to have to wait and see, but even if that is the case, Electivire is still a solid non-legendary option to invest your Stardust in. Number 4, Rampardos. Rampardos, with a max AP of 3298. Rampardos is a pure rock type Pokemon. If you go ahead and check it out, wow, Rampardos has an incredible set of stats. If you check out that attack stat at 295, that's almost as high as Mewtwo, but not only that. If you check out the moveset, it has access to some incredible rock type moves, including the move SMACKDOwn, which is fantastic for Rampardos. I'm not sure what Niantic was thinking in this case, but it's almost like they wanted to gift Rampardos as like the best rock type attacker, take it away from Tyranitar completely, no competition, take it away from Rhyperior, didn't stand a chance. Rampardos, you are worth powering up. Number 3, Mamoswine. Mamoswine, with a max AP of 3328. Mamoswine is a dual type Pokemon of ice and ground typing. So as far as the stats are concerned, how would I describe Mamoswine? For Mamoswine, it's probably the fact that it is a well-rounded Pokemon, meaning that even if there was some type of stat rework, it's still going to be a solid option. And as far as how I would use Mamoswine, if you check out the moveset, I'm actually suggesting that you go at it from the ice type standpoint. The reason being is from the ground type, it doesn't get the best moves, and ground type just doesn't have great moves to begin with. Very unfortunate, but as far as the competition goes from the ice typing, you have Weavile, you have Glaceon as well. Those are probably like the 2 main ones. Articuno just unfortunately doesn't compete, so this is a case where a non-legendary Pokemon can outperform a legendary, and whenever that happens, you know that that can be a solid option for a reason for you to invest in. Number 2, Metagross. Metagross with a max AP of 3,791. Metagross is a dual type of Steel and Psychic. So if I were to describe the stats for Metagross, once again we have a very well-rounded Pokemon. The reason why it was never mentioned in the past is because as a Psychic type, it just didn't stand up to other Psychic types, mostly related to the move. And then for the Steel type, yes, it was a great Steel type, but the moves were just really bad until we ended up getting the move Meteor Mash. And once Meteor Mash got added in, it really did solidify Metagross as a great contender from the Steel type and just as a general attacker. As far as the threats are concerned for Metagross, the two main ones are probably Heatran and Melmetal. But because both of these Pokemon do not have access to a double Steel type move, and they don't have a move that is as powerful as Meteor Mash, I would say that Metagross is definitely a solid option, which is why it is one of the best non-legendary Pokemon to power up. We saved the best for last, or at least the highest CP, and that is Garchomp. Garchomp with a max AP of 3,962. Garchomp is a dual type Pokemon of Dragon and Ground typing. So when we talk about this Pokemon, once again, very well-rounded. We do have quite a few very well-rounded Dragon type Pokemon, but that is what I will suggest for the use of Garchomp. Of course, if you take a look at the ideal moveset, it does have the most ideal moveset from the Dragon typing. So as far as the threats for Garchomp, of course, you have Rayquaza. Other than Rayquaza, you have Dialga and Palkia, but surprisingly enough, they do not have access to Outrage, at least at this point in time. They both have Draco Meteor, which gets outclassed by Outrage, which I do think hurts them a little bit. But either way, Garchomp is a solid investment and why you should power it up. So yeah, that just about wraps up the video. I'm actually going to go ahead and end on a question of the day. Is there a Pokemon that you believe should be on this list? Go ahead and let me know in the comments section below and tell me why you think the Pokemon should be added onto this list, why you should power it up, all of that fun stuff. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it helps you guide your Stardust use. If it did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Hit me like a tidal wave, ooh, triggered by the aftershock. Hit me like a tidal wave. I can't hit these high notes. How does he do this? This is impossible. I give up.